What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Old Hat TV. I mean, into my GT. It's all the same these days. So what is going on, everybody? I am coming to you on this lovely, nope, I am lying. It is overcast as all. It looks like it's about to rain day. So I am going to go ahead and give y'all just a little insight of all the Mustangs that I own and what's in my stable. One is Brandon's, two are Pam's, one is mine. And I'll go through some of the past cars that we had also. But first, guess what you got to do? That's right. Watch that intro. Be right back. All right, everyone, welcome back to the channel. And if you're not familiar or the first time at my channel, I have a bunch of Mustangs. I have a 2024, 2026, a 14, and a 15, which is Minion, which is my son's Brandon. So what I'm going to do today is just kind of go through them a little bit, talk about the past Mustangs I had, and where I'm going to go with my fleet and what my plans are for the future and whatever comes about in my head as I'm making this video. So anyway, let me get to the point. See you in a second. All right, everybody, so you must forgive me because it seems like every time I make a video now they're cutting grass. I need to find a different day, different time. I don't know. I think they'll still follow me. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and start the breakdown of this video with Pam's car, the 2014 Mustang GT California Special. Now what we've done some minor things with this car, nothing major. We have a Boss 302 intake, a JLT catch can. This is before they done switched over to OSC, and then a strut tower brace that goes with the Boss 302. That is essentially motor wise all that has been done with this car. She never wanted a blower. She didn't want to go into that spec. She just wanted to enjoy the drive of the car. So we didn't mess with the motor too much. Coming around, it is lowered on iBot Pro lowering springs. I always do the lowering springs. I don't personally like coilovers for the adjustments and this, that, and the other. I want to say the actual static ride is a little better, especially in the 14 because it had the live axle and the way it all works itself out. So it's on a set of Verde formed wheels. I don't know, I bought these a while back. Got front and rear. They're, I want to say 9.5 in the front, 10.5 in the rear. So they have a nice little set with this car with the silver and then the brushed. It looks really good. Okay, interior wise is basically that year model interior. The only thing that's been changed is the shift ball. Everything else has been the same. I did add a backup camera to it. It didn't have one, so we did do that with that. When I was talking about the door panel, this is my issue with the door panel. It's come undone, it's come unsticky. So I'm looking for someone around here to do some interior work to see if I can get that redone and stuck back where it needs to be. So that is the only flaw. And you know, the car itself is a 14, so 24 makes it 10 years, another 2 is 12 years. So the car is 12 years old, and this is the only issue that we really had with the car. So we'll take that, we'll get this fixed, and you know, it'll be what it needs to be. Now, as you can see, she keeps stuff in it and whatever. She's definitely not my side of the family. I try to keep all that stuff cleaned out and everything else, but you know, she uses the car for the purpose she uses the car for, right? So going down to the rear, you'll see that we have some Corsa exhaust on here. So other than the Corsa exhaust, I think she has a Bassani X-pipe. I can't really tell you which X-pipe it was, to said he gave it to me a while back, so it's been a minute since I've even thought about it. But it has an X pipe on it, has a Lund tune, and other than that, there's nothing else done with the car. I think when we last dynoed it, it was 409 horsepower to the wheel. Not too shabby for the year car, you know, and that's at the wheel, not at the crank. So when you get into the other new cars, it's a little slow, but you know, it is what it is. And before anybody goes, is she gonna sell the car, whatever? No, she loves this car. It's not gonna go anywhere. That's what I thought about Electra now. Electra was my supercharged 14, also California special, non-glass roof, but Whipple supercharged also, and we let that go, right? That took a lot of transformations, stayed with the owner for a year and got sold like 3 more times. So I don't know what happened with that going on, but you know, unfortunately that was the demise of Electra there. I thought it was going to be around and took care of and whatever, but I guess those cars didn't play out to what he needed it to be at the time. So anyway, enough of that. We're done with the 14. Let's move to the 15. Again, I am sorry about all the people cutting the grass all at the same time. It's freaking nuts. But anyway, it looks like they're almost done anywho. But we are going to talk about Brandon's 2015. Now this is his track pack, or performance pack, excuse me, 2015 Mustang GT. Now this car has gone through a lot of changes in its life. It's had 3 or 4 transmissions in it because he drives the crap out of this car. He actually drives the car for what it's made for, so sometimes a little more aggressive than he needs to be, right? So car just clicked over 100,000 miles. It's louder than hell. Everybody hates it because it's so loud, especially when you're going down the road. It's not loud in the car, but it's loud outside the car. He has full Corsa exhaust, headers to rear, and sounds like a bat out of hell when you start it. I'm not starting it because I don't feel like having that headache. It's on, I want to say these are Tech 7 RTRs, gunmetal. Car is tinted. It has carbon fiber mirror caps, has a tinted windshield, has a GT500 hood and front end on it. It's got the dreaded hot pins because the car itself, you know, after a time they start to lose the little plastic part on there, or they don't seal right. So he got that put in there when we did the interior work to this car. He needs to get a new lip. The lip he's done broke 3 times already. That should tell you something about that lip, right? Going around the car, as you can see, the calipers are all painted yellow to match the car. And then the Corsa Extremes coming out the rear. Now, they're the one that talked me into getting the yellow car for me. But let me tell you what I talked him into after I did my car. Okay, let me just remind you, this car has over 100,000 miles on it now. Just clicked it, so it just happened. But he's also running with a little bit of juice going on. He's got the 3-liter Whipple on here. He has a VMP new tank on there. We just put that on not too long ago. And he's got the GT500 aluminum heads on there. So he's got it kind of set up the way he likes it. It hasn't been run on the dyno yet, so I don't know the exact horsepower. Probably high 6s, mid 7s, but we don't know. He also has the reps of the 24 and 26 headlights. They are a switchback type. You can change the color to do different things on it. So this is his little minion. He's my minion, but this is his minion. So the car itself will run. He has run the crap out of it. It has an MGW shifter in it. It has, I think it is the RXT clutch in it. So we are good to go there. Like I said, the car is a beaut when he cleans it. It's never clean though. And there's menu. All right, guys, we tucked away into the garage for a moment just so y'all could hear me over the weed eaters and everything else. But we're gonna move over to WASP, our 2024 Mustang GT Performance Pack, Night Pony Package Edition with the black roof, black wing, came with the factory black wheels, black mirror caps. The only thing that wasn't black on it was the tailpipes, but as you can see, we took care of that too. Let me get to the car and we'll explain to you what's going on with WASP. All right, so now we're moving over to WASP. As we go to the front end, I actually have the two there next to each other because you can kind of see what a factory front end looks like versus my front end. Minus the white and the white horse, that's part of that package. But other than that, that is what my front end used to look like. Just blacken those out in your mind. So coming across here, we have the RTR lip. It took me the longest time to get this lip just for the fact that it is so big compared to the factory one. This is what I dealt with for the longest time. As you can see how small that is, nice and refined. Then you got this gargantuan thing that my fear was I would always hit it or something would kick it, or you know, and it hasn't actually been that bad because if you check here in the front, it kind of bows up, so it gives you the room to do what you need to do without kicking the car. Someone did hit it over here in the corner somewhere, rubbed against something or whatever happened there, but that is the fear that I have because it's so much that protrudes out. But anyway, that is the RTR lip. As you can see above that, I had the Diodynamics fog lights, which I will be putting a set on this car right here. I have them inside. I just haven't had the time to go ahead and take the front end off to put the lights on it. So that will be happening at some point. As you can see, they both had the tinted bezels, so that is kind of a nice thing. Moving over to the front a little bit here, you can see I have the RTR grille. Now, I wanted the RTR grille because it had the open nostrils through with the inlets to go into the air boxes. The lighting part, I never really, it's a nice little trick, but when I didn't have fog lights, it kind of made sense, but now I have the fog lights. So if you have this setup, this is all you have to do. If those overpower your fog lights, there's a ground that goes in there. Disconnect the ground, just wrap it up, disconnect the ground, then it turns it into a daytime running light, so it's dimmer, so it's not that bright light, and it will function like the other lights used to with the daylight running. They won't signal or anything, but they'll stay at a dim color. So that looks awesome at night because you have the bright fog lights, the bright lights, and then you have just a little accent around the nostril. So that looks really good. Also, I have the bottom grill also to match the top. So that is what's going on here in the front end. I also got the RTR vent. This is what the factory one looks like right here, and I did the RTR one. It usually comes in a matte plastic. I went ahead and got it painted gloss to go with what I had going on with up here with the mirror caps and the roof and all that stuff. So it's the RTR style with a little flip on the flavor, right? All right, moving down the side of the car a little bit, you'll see I got the Diodynamic side markers. Same ones are going in that car. Again, just haven't got around to doing it. And I have the rear ones, same thing, just haven't had time to do it. These are the reps of the GTD wheels. So what do you think that looks like on this car? And my yellow car attracts all the bugs. They think it's a big ass flower. So as you can see, little bugs are flying all over it. That would be why. So anyway, back to the wheels. So the GTD wheels, people were kind of iffy when I first got them. And like I said, it was accidental. There's a whole story about that on one of my other posts. But yeah, I like these wheels. I really do. I like the way that they sit on the car. They're just enough clearance for that, to see the Brimbos, and they're real easy to keep clean. So that's kind of one of my things too. I like to make sure there's an easy wheel. They're not as easy as the wheels next door right here, but we'll get into that later. Going down, has the black badging, has the RTR side skirts. Now, I know I have a lot of RTR parts on this car, and it wasn't meant to be that way, but it just kind of happened. Because at the point, I could have just bought an RTR by the time I put everything on there. But anywho, it has the side skirts, it has the front, it has it even has the mini splits on the back. So I'll show you that in a moment. But going down back to the side, the GTD wheels, like I said, they're great wheels. They look nice on this car. They have a nice set for this car. I'm running, I want to say they're 10s in the front and 11s in the rear. I got 285 tires in the front and 305s in the rear. So it does have the meats. It does have the static look to it. So, you know, it looks really good. I think the way that the set is on it looks nice with the suspension. So it's pretty good. And these are the little rear ones from RTR right here. So all that is RTR and on the car. All right, coming to the rear, I still have the factory spoiler. I like that better than most of the spoilers out there right now. And like I said, it's one of those pedestal ones. So if you get another type of wing, you have to either have it with a pedestal, or you have to replace this whole part that can pop off, which is more of a pain because of the yellow car. So I'm happy with the wing. I'm happy with the way it looks and the way it functions, and it flows pretty nicely. Black badging in the rear. I kept the tail lights where they were, and they do have the factory Ford Euros now, but I think with the color scheme I have going on here, even flows down to my license plate, right? The red, the yellow, you know, I don't have no green on my car, but you know, green is money and I'm spending a lot on here, right? So we got that going on. The diodynamics, we have the little light to go back here. Their reflectors usually like this, but mine actually light up. I will show you that really quick. Okay, as you can see, they light up back here. So it kind of has a cool little effect in the winter. When it's cold outside, the steam will catch the lighting, so it'll look like it's red lights or red steam coming out the rear tail. So it's kind of nice. It's a little different. So yeah. All right, so also back here, you can see I got the Corsa Extreme tailpipes on here. I actually have the Corsa Extremes all the way to the mid pipe. The mid pipe turns into the Cook's long tube headers. So I got the H versus the X. I like the H because it has more of a deeper tone than a raspy tone. Raspy I didn't mind as I was younger, but now I like that deeper old Fox body sound, right? It's more of a than a type sound, if that makes any sense to anybody. But yeah, I'll get into that a little more here in a second. Well, since I was talking about exhaust, I guess I could talk about the power plant on this car too. So when it was stock, I had it dyno tuned, and well, I ran it on the dyno. I never had it tuned because there was no tune available. So I ran it on the dyno, and it ran 417 to the wheel, and that was factory. There was nothing really done. I had the Typhoon K&N air filters on it, and that was pretty much. I think I might have had headers on it. I'm not sure, and that was on 93. So since then, we have kind of upgraded the game a little bit, right? So as you can see, I have the 3-liter Whipple, as you saw in Brandon's car. It is on this car, with the low pulley down to the, I want to say, it is a 3625 is what is on here now, on pump gas, making 850 horsepower. So 815, sorry. So with a little splash of E, you know, E30, you know, maybe getting it tuned to an E85, this is probably a good 900 horsepower car. With the E30, maybe 850, right? So we got that going on for it right now. We have the VMP carbon fiber inlet tubes. We have the Whipple open air boxes that seal to the top, and as you can tell, they do have a good seal because they have an imprint on my engine cover, right? Then you have the carbon fiber to continue with that, with the shroud. The reason why I went with the carbon fiber stuff under here is mainly because of that, because the bar that goes over there, the sub, oh god, I know I'm old and words leave me sometimes. The hold on, be right back. Okay, I got my thoughts. The strut tower brace, usually people don't have them over the Whipples, but VMP made one that is a little more flexible and able to go over the actual Whipple without hitting the type. But see, sometimes it does, because as you can see, I have a little imprint of that up there too, where it's kind of touching it a little bit, but it's not that big of a deal. And as you can see, it is not touching the Whipple at all. There is space there and it works out. But anyway, that only came in carbon. It came with a shiny or non-shiny. So I went with the shiny just because I knew that they had this one that kind of matches that. And then I went ahead and got the lethal, I want to say it's a DX version of the carbon fiber shroud for it. So that's kind of how the carbon fiber worked itself out. Also have the JLT intake. Now remember, on her car it was just JLT. This is OSC because they're part of the same thing now. And again, everything else is where it needs to be. It does have oil pump gears in it. For those gonna ask, do I have OPG? Yes, I have the oil pump gears installed and ready to go. So this car is good to go. It has an MGW shifter inside, short throw. It has just a race spec standard. Brandon has the X spec short shifting or the standard, I can't remember, so it's a lot lower. And then her car has the regular factory one, which I want to show you the two here in a moment. But this is Wasp. Wasp does have the Whipple on it. It has Cook headers. It has the H pipe, and then Corsa Extremes from their back with the active exhaust on it. So that way I can tone it down or tone it up. Even quiet is loud, but louder is loud. So you kind of, it's how you drive it and how the sound's going to come about, right? So this is what I got going on here. Okay, and there's my shifter. Now the only difference is this is a MGW shifter. You'll see that shift ball itself is the same one that's in Pam's car, but that is the throw. That is how big it is, you know. And I just want you to realize that when I go to her car here in a moment. And for those that y'all don't know, I do have a custom gauge for the boost up here. So that was custom made at the time. I don't know if they've made them anymore since then. You couldn't get the pillar one because they don't make it for this. They made it for Brandon's car, where this was circular right in here, not this oblong one. So we went ahead and I talked to my buddies down here at the radio shop that usually does all my work. They went ahead and, you know, 3D printed me an idea, got it on there, and that's what we ended up with, and it works great. Okay, last and finally not least is Pam's new 2026 FX edition Mustang GT. Now what makes it the FX edition? Well, if you know, you know, right? I have changed the wheels 3 times since we got this. They had the factory set of RTRs and now these. The factory wheels look like white hubcaps or rally wheels. If you like that type of thing, more power to you. But to me, it didn't make the car flow right. We kept the white nostrils in the horse and the side badging and all that stuff that you'll see here momentarily. But like I said, the white badging isn't bad. I still don't know about the nostrils, but it's her car, so if she's enjoying it, that's fine. We're going to go ahead and do a little alteration to the front. We're going to have the fog lights added. We're going to put them in, so it's going to look just like this over here, minus the RTR part. We're going to have the same side markers, which is the smoked on both sides, and then the rear. I'm not putting the back ones over the exhaust. So that is kind of what we have going on with, oh yeah, this is Neptune, by the way. All this is factory else that's out here. Factory hood scoop. We did get it tinted. The wheels themselves, again, like I said, we went through a couple of different sets. I went through a couple of different sets. The white wheels had to go. That was going to go the day I bought them, so that wasn't an option or anything else that was going to stick around too long. But I'm not selling them. I'm keeping them. They're in the garage, and you know, if we ever decide to sell this and someone wants to go back to the factory look, we have them, right? So these wheels that we ended up with are the Belgian, I want to say they're the classic 5s. They're wrapped in Firehawk Indy V2s. I have the Indy 500s on mine. This is a V2 version. They're supposed to be a little softer. Still have the same tread wear, but you know, they're speed rated a little better, so we got that going on there, right? It is a 10.5 in the front and a 11 on the rear, so that's why you have that nice look to it. There's no spaces on this at all, so it looks the way it needs to look. The offset is perfect. Like I said, looking down the side, car is beautiful. Now it doesn't film well because the car itself is teal, but you film it, it looks blue. So that is what it is. I can't really help that unless I got some crazy filter that I need to put on here. But that is the FX package in its whole. You have the white badging, you have white badging in the rear, and you get the factory Euro lights on it, which are kind of nice. So if you like that Euro lights, you don't have to worry about buying them because you have the factory ones on there. Neptune is the name right there, and then it has the factory active exhaust. Now I don't know why they do this the way they do this, but with their factory exhaust, I don't know why you don't have an option of having black tips. I would guarantee you that they would sell more with the black tips, just for the way that it looks, because your car has a stance, it has a look, everything, and then you have stainless steel tips coming out the rear. Most people are going to switch it over or do something to it anyway, so why not capitalize on that a little bit, right? Get your money, right? So that's what I think, and I think they should have gone to a bigger tailpipe also, but you know, they tried to deal with EPA stuff and all that, so I get it. But nevertheless, that's going to be changed at some point. I don't know exactly which route we're going to go with this. She doesn't want it as loud in me and Brandon's car, so we may change from the suitcase back, but maybe not put headers on it right away, because that'll definitely open it up a little. So we'll have to kind of play with that a little bit. Okay, walking over to the front of this car, inside, the interior itself is totally different than mine. It's the same but different, right? So everything has the black accents. It's almost like the Dark Horse package, where everything is blacked out. The horse is silver for whatever reason, but everything else is blacked out in the car. And like I was talking about earlier with the shifter, see how much taller that is? So, you know, I guess it would help if I show you, right? How much throw there is there. So I would definitely, if you haven't had a car with an MGW, I would at least try a car that has one and see if you like it, because it's definitely a lot easier to shift. The throws are a lot quicker, and it looks a lot better. So, but with the rest of the interior, you have the plaid look to it as the inserts, and it's like a printed, it's not like a real material, it's leather with the print on there, and it looks really good. It has the teal stitching, and you know, it has the little accents of this car that makes it what it is. This is part of that FX package itself. You could get the Adriatic blue color, but you can't get the interior unless you have the FX package, which brings the white wheels and the white everything else, right? So that's kind of one of those choices you have to make if you want it. It's cheaper than the Night Pony package, so it depends what you want. You get everything that the Night Pony package gets except for the painted black roof and the black wing. Everything else is pretty much the same. It just has the white accents on it. So this is that car. Like I said, there's not much done to it. I'll show you what we've done to it on the hood, but we are going to get a Steeda H pipe put on it. I have one in the tool shed. We're going to go ahead and get that put on here, hopefully before we go down to Ford's in the Shore, so that way she can have a little more sound. It bumps it up a little bit, but it's nothing like the other cars. So let me pop the hood on this and show you what we got going on under there. Okay, walking up to this car, you'll see some things are the same, some things are different, right? So no blower on this car as of yet. Don't know if we're going to go that factory that way or not. That is entirely up to her. Maybe an ESS, maybe something different. I like the Whipples. I've never had a problem with the Whipples. I've never had any issues with the Whipples, so that's why I always go with the Whipples. They're a little more expensive on the front end, but they seem to last and they have a good support system. I'm happy with them. Anyway, so Brandon had this strut tower brace on his car before he had the Whipple. Obviously you see it fits the 2016s, the 2015s on up. So that was kind of nice that was just sitting around, so we could kind of take advantage of that. So I added the nameplate of Neptune on there, FX GT, right? Moving on down a little bit here, you can see I put the JLT cold air intake on it. And again, you see they seal fine. So those people that, you know, say, oh, you're adding too much heat to your car, whatever, it seals itself away from it. So you're pretty good with that, right? So haters don't be hating. Then you come down here, you get the carbon fiber shroud like I have on mine. We went ahead and did that just because, you know, we have the same process. You know, we had a little carbon fiber in here, so we're just kind of accenting it a little bit. Has a JLT OSC oil separator there. Like I said, that's where they put them on this Mustang. It feeds this side, which you can see comes over here, and the other part goes under here. So, but like I said, it sits over there, it's out of the way. I'm thinking about maybe changing the coolant tank to like the one on the Mishimoto one that I have. So we'll kind of have to play that by ear. But for the most part, this is where we are with all the cars, with the 15, the 14, the 26, and the 24. Like I said, they're what we have. That's our fleet. And let me talk about some other stuff too. All right, so that is the stable that I have with the Mustangs. The 15, the 14, the 26, the 24. That's all the Mustangs that we own. Now, you know I have other cars, right? I have the Dodge Ram 1500. I have the ST Explorer. I have my daughter's ST Line Escape, and then my wife 21 Jeep Wrangler. We do have an assortment of vehicles, right? And someone asked me the other day that, why do I have so many Mustangs? Why do I always go with the Mustangs? Well, I'm going to tell you why. Hold on. Sorry, had a side quest. So why do I have so many Mustangs? Well, it's kind of embedded in my DNA. Okay, when I was 16, I had my first GT, a 90 GT. Then, you know, had that for about 8 months or so. Then got into a crazy accident. Wasn't my fault, but the car got totaled. So then, you know, I had to do the rebuild phase, right, with that car. And back then I lived with my parents. I didn't have the flow that I have, or, you know, have kind of move stuff around to buy cars the way I do, right? So then I got the insurance money for that and went ahead and bought my 20 93, my 93 GT. It was white. It was nice for that era, black interior, hatchback. Changed the rear tail lights from the cheese graters to the LX, you know, things what they did back then. You know, that actually was boosted too. It had a power dyne supercharger on it. Tuning was a little different back then. You had to actually tune it in to the car, you know, so there wasn't a lot of the tuning like they do now. But I had that. Then the wife got a 95 GT. So then we had the 93 and the 95. We got married, you know, and then life happened, right? We had frickin' frack, Cindy and Brandon. So we had to start getting rid of the cars because we were doing the family thing, right? Not knowing that you could do the family thing in a Mustang, but putting a car seat in the back of a Mustang GT wasn't the funnest part. So we went ahead and sold her car and got a, back then, an Eddie Bauer Explorer. Got that for her. And then my car started having some issues. Radiator overheating, because it got hit once or twice and it got fixed, but it never got fixed right. Things weren't tweaking right. The belts would fling off, and you know, it started to have kind of some issue. So we had that Mustang, right? So moving forward, we went ahead and sold the house that we were at that point, and then got to this house. Now we moved here, you know, we were new to everything. We had a bigger house. Things were kind of a little different. We had more room. We lived on a cul-de-sac before where you didn't have any parking, where now I have all sorts of parking, right? So we couldn't do this if we wanted to at the other place anyway. We would take over the whole freaking place. So never to say that was the reason why we end up where we are, but we went back to the Mustang. We tried the Subaru thing for a little while. I had an STI, 13 STI. My wife had the first BRZ that came out over here. It was ordered, bought sight unseen, you know, and we got that. So that was, our daughter was just born, or it may be in a couple years. So putting her in the back of the BRZ was crazy. If you had a BRZ, you know what I'm talking about. They just put a back seat in there for insurance because there's no other purpose to have that. So anyway, I was looking around and I had a Acura TL at that time too. Now, forget all that. I had my Subaru, and I just bought the Subaru. It was like 2 months old, and then started talking to David. Yes, you know David, that dude in blue. He used to come down here to all the car shows and whatever before he moved down to where he does now. So we got kind of tight. Him and Brandon are good friends. They still talk, I believe. You know, Cody and all them were growing up together, and so there's a circle there, right? So we were talking to him, and he had his car. So it was kind of, it kind of fueled the itch again, right? So that's where electric came in. So electric came in, and I got her. And that was fine, dandy. But then the wife started taking my car all the time, my Mustang. And then she wanted to get her own. So we started looking around for hers. So, and now you got to forgive me on the timeline a little bit, but this is kind of how I think it went. So we went looking for hers. And we went ahead and sold her car, her BRZ. And she was kind of worried because she didn't think she was going to get her car because, you know, finances and stuff were going on, and we just bought mine, and, you know, a whole lot of things going on, right? So it worked out at the end. We found her car up north in Sterling, Virginia, or it might have been in Baltimore. I think it was Baltimore. And we drove up there and picked up her car. And then she's had that car ever since. My son, you know, he got the age of driving. No, we did not put him in a Mustang right away. We put him in a beat up 2002 Explorer XLT. That bitch was leaking oil, but he was treating it like that too. He was from what I heard, he threw it in ditches, he was going up snow banks. And so anyway, it was the perfect car for that situation that he had going on. So later on, he saved up some money, started working, doing whatever. He wanted to buy a Mustang himself. So we found this one at the Hyundai dealership. It was used. I think it had like 39 or 40,000 miles on it. But it was pretty unmolested. So we went ahead and got that. It did come from the beach, so it did have some rust on it in certain places on the trunk and stuff like that, but we got that kind of cured, and then he started changing things up on his car. Not getting into the whole detail with that, you can go watch his channel and kind of piece that together. So that's how those 3 Mustangs came in. Now later on, you know, these came about, the new models. So I was intrigued, and I had Electra already for, you know, at that point, the 24, so 10 years, right? More or less 11, because I bought it in October of 13 because of the 14 model. So I went ahead and got that car. Did my things with that, and then, you know, I had it for a while, and then, you know, I heard that Tyler was looking for a car. So I put a price out there for it, you know. I was okay either way, if I was gonna sell it or not sell it, because I already had Wasp at this point. But me having Wasp in that car, I wasn't driving Electra that much. That car only had 40,000 miles, 42,000 miles on it when I sold it, I believe. So it didn't have a lot of miles on it to begin with. So it was in great condition, everything was fine, you know. But it was something that I wasn't going to enjoy, so that's why I unloaded that car, right? So I had the 24, so I got that, and that's what made everything possible for Wasp. All the add-ons and the exhaust and the blower and all that stuff, that's why Electra got sold. So I can go ahead and get Wasp to the way I wanted Wasp. The sway bars, you name it, it is on this car, and it runs good. And like I said, for daily, when I do daily, it is wonderful. I do usually daily the Explorer, but as you know, the Explorer is a little hyped up too, right? So let me break this up a second. Okay, so that is the story with that part of it. But needless to say, the short answer to the long question I just answered, I've always had Mustangs. I'm always gonna have Mustangs. The reason why we got Neptune was because Pam wanted a newer Mustang. It kind of developed that way. I had something new, you know, she was still rolling in the 14. Everybody else had newer cars that we would hang out with or whatever. So she, you know, it was in the books to do it. So we went ahead and found the color, and I've told that story, and that's why. We got another Mustang, another GT, because we didn't need a dark horse. We didn't need the new hotness as the SC, you know. We don't need that. Like I said, I got 7,000 miles on Wasp. I bought it in 23 of October. It's about to hit 3 years and only has 7,700 miles on it, something like that. So that should tell you that, you know, I don't drive these cars like, you know, everywhere in the country, and then when I do drive them, I don't sit there and beat on them the whole time either. So they're good for what we want them to do. Now, me personally, I probably would have got rid of the 14, but, you know, just to have extra kickback with other stuff. But she's still attached to that car, so we'll just leave it at that. It's not really costing me that much to keep it insured and having, you know, whatever on it. So it's not that big of a deal for that car. But like I said, it would help, but, you know, it is what it is with that. So that's why. And now I won't ever say I won't get a dark horse or a GT 500 or something like that. But I'm not sold on it like other people get sold on cars. You know, I like having a manual. You can't get that in a GT 500. You can't get that in the SC. So if I ever did go up above this, it would either go below for, you know, a GT 350 that I could get a manual in, or something older that a manual was available in. Now, not to take away from the DCT, I know that's a good thing, but the purpose of having the DCT the way it is and people wanting to run those cars is to get to a horsepower number, to race them, to do whatever. I'm not into that anymore. I don't care for that. So I do like some of the cars, and you know, I'm not gonna say I'm never gonna own one, but you know, I've always been in the thing where I'm one of those people that tries to keep the manual alive, right? So if a car is available in a manual, I'm gonna do a manual if possible. I think it's a lot more fun to drive now. As I get older, it might be a lot worse. You know, things may not work as good. My legs may not be as good. My arms might, whatever the case may be. And then we'll have to discuss changing up a little bit, right? We'll cross that path when we get to it, you know, as it's needed. But as of right now, I can still shift. I can still do what I need to do. So that's what's going on with that. Now, I am intrigued with some of the new cars coming out, so we'll cross that path. I've even liked the new SC convertible. So, like I said, who knows what the dollar amount is on that one? You know, if the SCs are coming out as, you know, what, right under 100 grand, right at 100 grand for the base. Who knows? Convertible's going to sit between that and the premium. So, you know, it's going to be $130,000, $140,000 car. So I don't want to pay that. I honestly can't afford to pay that. Yeah, I could trade a couple cars and probably swap keys that way, but I kind of enjoy having the fleet and having the options that I have. But anyway, this video has gone on long enough. I've showed you the stable. I've showed you all the cars. And if there's anything in particular on any one of the cars that I show you, even Brandon's, because it's always here, I can go ahead and break that down a little more for you if there's things that you want to know about any certain car. So with that being said, let's close out this video. All right, guys, so that is a video, long-winded and old hat, as I started the video, into my GT. It's coming at you. So all the cars are here. They're all functioning. Everything is working. And about a month, we'll be down at Ford's at the Shore. Not doing Mustang Week this year. That's about a week and a half away from now. Doing Ford's in the Shore, going down there with the buddies. I am planning on doing Ponies in the Smokies this year. So getting my feelers out to find a house that works for us. Looking for a nice property, not really in town, but close to it, flat, because you know, you've been up there, you know, right? So something that isn't going to take the front end of my cars off. So anyway, we'll cross that path. But with all the vehicles here, we got Minion, Storm, who is it? Yeah, Neptune, and Wasp. There's a little bit of Nightwing over there. We are signing off on this video, and we'll catch you in the next one. And again, thank you guys for tuning in and watching my videos. I don't ask y'all to, and I do appreciate that y'all take the time out and then do what y'all got to do with that, because it does make me want to make another one and another one. It kind of weird feeling when you do put out a video and nobody wants to watch it, right? Is it because of the content, or is it just the way the timing is? You know, it is what, you know, with how it comes out to be. But for the last couple videos y'all have came out, y'all have done what it, I don't ask y'all to like, subscribe, hit the thumbs up or nothing like that, because if y'all want to watch it, y'all will tune in. Tell your friends if it is something that, you know, may intrigue somebody else. And like I said, I do have a vast lineup of cars, so I can do stuff on the Ram. I could do stuff on the Explorer again. You know, the Escape, if anybody wants that. You know, the Jeep, do Jeep stuff. So there is some stuff that I could do, but my main build for right now will be on Neptune. We got some stuff going on with that I need to take care of, and we'll get it straight. And then again, we're taking these cars down to Ford's of the Shore, and we're gonna have a good time with those. So until then, We'll see you on the next one.